What's up, YouTube? So I figured I'd make another video. I haven't done one in a while. This is going to be a little more low-key. We're just going to add the transmission hump and put new carpet in the truck. Since I had to kind of cut mine up and hack it together to get the transmission installed, and I still want to raise the transmission just a little bit, you can see how much body work I have to look forward to. So I figured we'd get started with this. It should be a pretty easy deal, I think. You can see where I kind of played with the polisher the other day. Wife bought me one. Thought I needed it. I don't think you can really polish its black paint too well. Maybe you can. I don't know what I did anyway. So here's the mess. I think we'll start by getting the seat out and then carpet out. Cut the notch for the transmission tunnel cover to go in, and then locate the shifter handle and cut something a little nicer than what I currently have on the floor. So it should be a pretty straightforward job. These things, this one's kind of okay. The other side's pretty bad. I may order some new ones before I put everything back together. I haven't completely decided yet how I'm gonna do that. Actually, you know what I think? I think this calls for power tools. Assuming I can find what I'm looking for in here, in this mess of stuff. So I got a strike from YouTube. I'm not sure. Some kind of copyright violation. I'm not really sure how. It was on an older video too, as a matter of fact. I can't do anything one-handed. So I thought that was pretty neat. I give up. So I'm not sure what I did wrong, but I'll try not to do it wrong again and offend those YouTube people or whatever. Maybe I showed something. I'm gonna have to start blacking everything out with the logo on it. Plenty of garage dogs. Oops, I missed. So yeah, sorry about your ears if you're watching this with headphones. I'm sure it can't be fun to listen to. Ouch. I think there's another screw right here. The other one of these is pretty tore up. And from what I've seen, I think they're pretty reasonable to buy. So, as I said, I'll probably just end up replacing all of these because, well, why not? Here before long, you'll get to see how awful the floor in this cab is. I've been really back and forth on, do I do body work on this cab or do I find a replacement cab? Because as you can see, this thing is kind of put together. I'm not gonna lie and say I wasn't responsible for some of the putting together of it, but this was definitely not me. Yeah, flathead screws. Thing is, I don't notice screw heads on the underside of this, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But this is all somebody else's repair work, not mine. So anyway, yeah, I'll put this down and get this out and get the seat out. Probably get the carpet out real quick, and then we'll start trying to figure out how to locate that transmission tunnel. Ford used clips to put it on and bolts. I'm going to use some of these. Basically, you drill a certain sized hole push that through and use this tool, and it expands, and then you can thread into that. I figured that'd be a little cleaner install than just some random clips and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll get this seat out and get this apart. Let's see how far we get. All right, so here is the horribly ugly floor in my truck. Realistically, like, this cab needs pulled off and all this needs replaced. Somebody had done this before I got a hold of it. So it's probably Grandpa at some point, or I don't know. This doesn't look like something Grandpa would do, but somebody had done it at some point, and you can see it's pretty rough, but it's gonna have to do for a while because I'm not ready to strip it down just yet. I want to enjoy it for a while first. So we're gonna keep going on it as is, and see what we can come up with. But for now, we're gonna focus on this, getting all this out, which apparently some of that's gonna have to move. And I fear I'm gonna have to take this out. I don't really want to pull this out. This is an original piece. It's just cardboard. I mean, yeah. I don't know if it would survive coming out or not. But you can see I've kind of went a little crazy with the Sawzall. So in my defense, though, this has kind of been put together a few different times. So anyway, let's grab that tunnel, kind of lay it in here and see if we can get an idea where it's going to go. All right, so the tunnel itself gives us a pretty good template of where we're going to have to cut the floor. So as it looks, you can see kind of the way that goes. That's going to sit down to where this floor piece fits into this groove right here. So what we'll end up doing, you're licking the floor. Please stop. You're going to get something. Have you had a tetanus shot? Good dog. We're going to probably just be able to trim, measure to the inset of these a little bit past, and line up and then offset the cut in that way so that we can drill holes, insert the nut zerts, and then tighten everything down. Unfortunately, I put these holes a little close right here, and here, and here. These are a little better, and this side's a little better. I mean, the joys of aftermarket parts, I guess. But I'm going to use some button head cap screws to go in these, so they should fit okay. And then hopefully we can mark the location of the shifter and do it once. I may weld in some metal here to give that something to screw into. There's no screws in that immediate area, but I may do it just because. So yeah, I guess measure and mark this up, get a cutoff wheel, and start sawing away at it. Hopefully cut this without cutting the transmission. Oh, so I just realized something. So here we go. These are the insets where the clips would go. So I imagine if I cut right along the edge of that, draw an imaginary line and cut along the edge of those, that should be a pretty good idea of where to go. I'm not sure what that big inset's for. But yeah, that'll tell me where I need to be as far as how far over to cut this floor out. And ultimately, like I said, this is all to allow me to raise this transmission up a bit, because as you can see, there is no room between the top of the transmission and the floor. So yeah, this is necessary in my case. Probably, and maybe not everybody's, or anybody that had a C6 truck will have this taller hump in it already. But yeah, so anyway, that's what's next. So let me get a cutting wheel of some sort, and we'll get started. Okay, gang, so check it out. It's cut out. I'll tell you what. So, my wife bought me this for some gift of some kind, anniversary, Father's Day. I can't remember. I should, but I don't. Anyway, this thing is wicked. Like, I literally cut that out in like 10 minutes. And with this small of a wheel and the way this thing's set up, you can get into some much tighter angles than what you can with like a 3.5-inch grinder with a cutoff wheel. It's not great on battery life. I did use about 2.5 batteries to do it, but I mean, this thing's wicked. It's reversible, so you can run it either direction. It actually has like a dust collection cover on it as well. I took that off just for being able to get it into tighter spaces, but yeah, this little thing's just, you know, worth every penny. I can't even remember what it's called. I don't know if there's a part number on it or not. But yeah, it's just a little Milwaukee cutoff tool, and yeah, grab you one of these if you do any kind of sheet metal work, because it's worth every penny. So anyway, yeah, just as I'd hoped, I've got plenty of clearance now back here, which this was never really the issue. It was always this right here in relationship to the floor pan, so that's taken care of. So now at this point, it's just a matter of getting the new tunnel marked for this shifter and then set up and a hole cut. So I'm going to take a wheel and kind of clean all this up so that if I'm working on it, it's not just raggedy and razor sharp and all that. I'm going to take a piece of that, cut it and fit it right in here so that this is a little more cleaned up. And yeah, we'll get going with that. So let me see what I can, I'm not going to film cleaning and deburring the edges up, but once we start doing some of this other stuff, I'll get back on camera. All right, so we're back. I got one hole done. I guess I thought I had some stainless steel cap screws, but I don't. Button head cap screws, but I don't. They're just regular cap screws. So I ended up going with some regular screws. So this is working pretty good. I'll show you real quick how this whole process goes, and then I will probably just knock the rest of them out, because I don't think anybody wants to watch me do all of them. So what I have is a like a locating center punch. So you get it lined up in the hole. Yeah, trying to do all this one-handed is really fun. Let's see. Hang on. Hey, check that out. So I forgot that I bought this little tripod that works with my iPhone, so we're gonna try this out. So it's pretty easy. Like I said, you know, use a self-locating center punch so you hit the center of the hole. Pretty close locating the hole for my shifter to go through. It does fully engage first, but I may go ahead and kind of oversize this a little bit right there just to make it a little better. All right, so it's off and away so you can see where your hole gets located. So I start with the drill bit. Somewhat obviously dull drill bit, and then oversize it to 3/8 of an inch. Is what I'm using for these 1/4-20. They call them rivet nuts. Let me go grab one real quick. think I got one more hole size to go, yeah. That should do it. Yep. So, and then this is the tool part number that I'm using. So you open those all the way up, screw the rivet nut on. You can see there's a little bit of knurling there that I think is what grabs. Insert it. You know, try to keep it flat as you can. And then squeeze both handles together. Right? And then open the handle. And this basically unscrews the die from the rivet nut. And then at that point you have a pretty nice flush fitting place to put a screw in. Or bolt. There's a little bit of setup that's required with this as far as setting this die up in here. But it's a pretty easy once you read the instructions. It makes a lot of sense. I got it from Summit. It's like 80 bucks. Come with, you know, assortment of dies and rivet nuts for different size holes. I think it goes clear up to 1/2 inch, but I think anything bigger and you need a bigger tool than what I have here. But for stuff like this, it works perfectly. So I am going out and cutting a piece of floor out of a junk cab to patch this. So for the time being, we're just going to go ahead and keep going with what we have to get the rest of these rivet nuts in. And yeah. So I'll come back to the video once the rest of this stuff's all marked and drilled. Okay, so I was able to find my button head screws, so that's what I ended up going with. I opened up the shifter opening just a little bit, deburred all that, so it's nice and cleaned up. And this is what I'm doing for a shifter boot. So I'm using a standard Hurst shifter boot to go over that to function as a seal, basically. And then over that, I'm using a race clip shift boot, Nomex shift boot. And that'll help two things. One, this should seal up the shifter for, you know, gas, smell, whatever getting through. Two, the Nomex race boot, in case there's a fire, will prevent it from entering the cabin of the truck. So, figure kind of 2 birds with 1 stone or whatever. So that'll get installed just like that, and then the Nomex boot just button snaps into that, so you can take it out to clean it or get easy access into this, whatever you need to do. Hindsight being 2020, I wish I would have opened this up enough to potentially be able to change the shifter without removing this floor plate. But that didn't happen. So, because eventually I'm going to put a short throw shifter in and replace the stock TKX shifter. Maybe at that time I'll just cut the plate out enough that I can do that in the vehicle without pulling everything out. But I don't know, just cross that bridge when I come to it. So anyway, I'm going to finish cutting this out or getting this all set up, and then on to carpet. Okay, so here it is, all bolted down. So you can see the rubber seal, the screws go through the rubber and the carpet and the padding, which this stuff's awful. Like, I get it and it's nice, but to put screws through is horrible. But anyway, so the rubber seal is sealed against the transmission hump, then the carpet's around that, then this metal plate is screwed down where this shift cover will snap in. The shifter boot cover will snap in. I think I'm going to try and come up with something that goes around the shift lever at a certain height to keep the boot pulled up, because I think it's going to sag down. But I don't know. I haven't got quite that far yet. But yeah, this stuff is awful to drill through. Well, it's not going to focus or put screws through. But anyway, so I got to do that. I need to trim up the carpet here along the bottom of the firewall. And then I actually got the rubber boots to go over that. And this has been loose the entire time I've had the truck. So I'm going to try and come over to a solution to secure that. Anyway, so I'll get back to you guys as soon as I get a little further along. Show you the finished product at the end. All right, gang, so here we go. This is the finished product. So there's the shift boot installed, new carpet, clutch seal put in. all that fun stuff. All in all, it's not a bad job. I think it gives it a more finished look. Obviously better sealed than just a plain old Hurst rubber shift boot that seemed to tear if they were you know, forced to flex really at all any. So if you have any questions about anything, just post them in the comments. I'll do the best I can to answer them. Thanks for watching.